We've decoded the intel from the First Order spy, and it confirms the worst. Somehow Palpatine returned.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another little video, and today we're actually going to be taking a look at this article that states all 12 Star Wars characters from the screen who came back from death. And in my opinion, all 12 Star Wars characters who could have stayed dead ultimately, right? So let's dive in, grab your popcorn, grab a drink, sit down, enjoy the transmission, and here we go. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and take a look at this article and see what it states in regards to 12 different characters from the Star Wars universe who should ultimately have stayed dead. I have a huge love for Star Wars, and I know that a lot of you out there do too. But there's some things with Star Wars that I don't like or care for, and that's with characters who basically have a meaningless death, or they die and then come back. So, anyway, let's dive into the article here by Collider. At times, Colliders can put out some, I guess, decent articles. I haven't read an Collider article in years, so let's go ahead and see, what they have cooking up. No One Is Ever Really Gone has become one of the fans' favorites. First line into reading the article, and I'm already upset. No One Is Ever Really Gone has become one of fans' favorite quotes since Luke Skywalker says it in Episode 7, The Last Jedi. Episode 8, The Last Jedi. And he's right. In Star Wars, death is almost never the end. Now the line has gained new meaning with the news of Adam Driver's canceled Ben Solo project due to Disney's executives not seeing how Ben Solo could be alive. And I agree with them. I think it still would have been interesting premise to see that film come to life. However, I don't think that... I think they made the right choice, and that just leave it alone. Leave the sequels alone. Don't ever touch them. Don't bring these characters back. Of course, they did Andor for the Andor show, which I still need to watch. I've never seen it. A majority of Disney Star Wars I have not seen because I was so devastated and I felt betrayed as a fan when it came to The Last Jedi, The Rise of Skywalker. And then they had a home run with, The Force Awakens and Rogue One. Rogue One was a great story. And it had, legacy characters in it. And those legacy characters, they fit into it. I felt as though they fit into it very, very well, right? A lot of Star Wars fans who I've talked to over the years, they don't have issues with Rogue One. Also, primarily, everyone gets wiped out and dies at the end of the film. That's why you never see them in anything else. That's why they're never mentioned anywhere else within the story. That's why Han, Luke, and Leia probably have heard their names like once or probably never. So, But I digress. Long story short, I just think that, and that's a problem in current Star Wars, and especially Disney Star Wars, is that a character dies and they're not really, right? This is something that, sort of Avengers Endgame and Infinity War touched on. How peak would it have been if the MCU ended after the first Infinity War film? How hardcore would it be? After 10 years of a studio building all of that up, only for Thanos to snap his fingers, and then the screen goes white, and that's it. No more MCU. Completely done. You ended on a high note. Should you always leave your audience on a high note? In the world of acting, majority say yes. But I think it also depends on the context, and it depends on the type of story that you're telling, right? So I think it would have been trippy as fuck if they would have ended Infinity War and then never did Endgame, because everyone comes back in Endgame, right? Except for like maybe 3 people: Iron Man, Black Widow. They come back, but like they never make it to the end of the Endgame. So it's just a lot of characters' deaths are meaningless. Star-Lord, Spider-Man. I mean, I guess one could argue that they don't technically die because they all go to like the miniature universe or whatever, the pocket universe inside the Soul Stone, I think. I don't know. That's a whole nother thing we can talk about later. But with Star Wars, it's blatantly just, I feel like, doing the fans disservice when you have characters who, they're in X part of the galaxy during Y part of the events of the galaxy. And then it's just, we'll get into it here, but I could rant and rave all day about how I'm fed up. Let people die in Star Wars. They did it to Han Solo. Wokeism killed Han Solo. Just kidding. Adam Driver already said that. So in Star Wars The Last Jedi, Adam Driver's canceled Ben Solo project. Characters come back from the death, actually. Some of them never really die. Some are fake outs, and others come back just because someone had a good story to tell about them. So if Bob Iger and Alan Bergman need some reference, here are all 12 characters who've made it. Let's take a look here. The first one, 12, we have Aurra Sing in the Clone Wars. Aurra Sing, honestly, I do not remember that much about her as a character in general, other than I think she's a try-hard bounty hunter. Ultimately, and I haven't seen all of Clone Wars to this day, just because I still carry... Clone Wars is really good, the parts I've seen, but there's a lot of Clone Wars that... From what I have seen of Clone Wars, there's a lot of Clone Wars where I feel as though the pacing is too slow, right? So and maybe it's just because I'm a film guy. I don't want to sit down and watch 70 hours of Clone Wars. I want to watch maybe 5, maybe 10. I don't like pointless filler within my stories. There are scenes and context where it's called for, but not all the time. It doesn't mean I'm never going to watch all of Clone Wars. It doesn't mean that I don't enjoy it. I do enjoy it, but there's certain things about it I just don't like. One of them being the animation has never been my favorite. That sort of 3D, late 2000s animation style has just never been my favorite. It never has. In the season 2 finale of Star Wars Clone Wars, notorious bounty hunter and assassin Aurra Sing has a confrontation with Ahsoka Tano, resulting in the Slave One crashing on the planet Florum. It doesn't just crash land, it actually blows up with Aurra inside. This doesn't stop her from coming back in the season 3 episode Assassin, though, when she attempts to assassinate Padme Amidala and ends up caught by Ahsoka again. Sing eventually dies for good later on, as it is revealed in a Solo: A Star Wars Story that Tobias Beckett, Woody Harrelson's character, killed her. But all of that happens off screen, and now that's something we'd love to see. So it's like, I mean, what was the point of bringing back a character who died only to have them be killed off screen in some throwaway dialogue? I'll be honest, reading this article so far, I'm reminded that Tobias Beckett, like Woody Harrelson's character, brings it up in the film, but I'll be honest, I have no recollection of that whatsoever. And I think part of that is because it's not memorable dialogue, right? And that's something... Maybe it's partly because of the memes of the last 2 decades, but the prequels do it so well. Excuse me. and I know people are gonna dog on me for this, but whatever. I know a lot of people compare George's writing to like salty driftwood. There's a quote about that somewhere out there, but I mean, hey man, at least it's memorable as hell. A lot of one-liners in the prequels are extremely rememberable. The negotiations were short, right? So, but to see that ends up being basically, she ends up being killed off screen, and it's just exposed within dialogue. It just feels so pointless, right? Like me as an audience member, I just don't care. Moving on.
You should have stayed dead.
Echo in the Clone Wars. Oof. That one's actually going to leave a mark. So Echo is one of everyone's favorite clones. For his rise in the struggling cadet in the 501st Legion ARC Trooper, the Clone Wars Season 3 episode Counterattack, he seemingly perishes in escape from the Citadel prison when a Separatist droid blows up a ship behind him. We even see his scorched fallen helmet. I do think I remember watching the first 3 to 4 seasons of Clone Wars and Season 7. Season 7, I will not lie, was very peak, very good. So when Anakin Skywalker finds and rescues Echo of the Separatists... Excuse me, guys. Keep yawning. I'm so sorry. Hold out on Anaxis? I'm not familiar with that planet. Everyone was relieved to see when he was alive. Even though he had been tortured by the Separatists and gotten cybernetic implants in his skull, his joining Clone Force 99 is a full circle movement, and he continues to appear regularly in Star Wars The Bad Batch. Again, I remember that being sort of a big deal when that whole episode and sort of arc for Echo came out. But again, I'm just not that invested in Echo's character. I'm not saying he's a bad character. I'm just saying I'm not that invested in the character to really have an opinion here in regards to should he have stayed dead, should he have not. I for now, just because I don't know him that well, I guess I'll give it a pass. But like I said, I don't like it when characters are sort of faked out, like they die, but then no, they didn't, right? I think for the first one, Aurra Sing, dead. Echo, probably should have stayed dead.
You should have stayed dead.
The Grand Inquisitor and Obi-Wan Kenobi. The Obi-Wan Kenobi show, we will definitely be doing a review of that in the future on the channel, because I have a lot of things to say about that. But I don't even recall the Grand Inquisitor even dying. I just don't remember. The Obi-Wan Kenobi miniseries has many faults. Yes, it does. Thank you for acknowledging that, Collider. It's many fake-out character deaths among them. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And we'll get to that in a minute. At the end of part 2, Reva Savender, the third sister. Hey, by the way, I'm gonna state this now. Do you guys all remember the time that the Twitter account on Star Wars called every fan in the galaxy racist? I remember that. I thought that was bullshit. It's just, I don't mind politics in my Star Wars, but it needs to be in-universe politics set within the Star Wars universe, not real-life politics bleeding into forms of entertainment, whether it be Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, what have you. I go to be inside, sort of entrapped within this world, this universe, to escape my own, right? We can talk all about that another day, though. Okay. So we do have listed here at the end of part 2, the third sister stabs the Grand Inquisitor. That's right. And I thought that guy was a great actor, by the way. Robert Friend, I think is his name. And gives the impression that he really dies. The thing is, he is alive and well in Star Wars Rebels, set years after Kenobi. That's right, he is. So he couldn't have possibly died. It's just weird, though. Then what was the point of stabbing him, right? He returns in part 5, I believe it's 5, IVVVI, to reaffirm his status as the leader of the Inquisitorius, stating that revenge does wonders to the will, for the will to live. I don't know, that's just a shitty impression of him. It's rather pointless to fake out with hardly any payoff, but anyway. Yeah, so the Grand Inquisitor, he should not have stayed dead, so the point being here, they shouldn't have had Reva stab him. It was completely and utterly pointless, and fucking stupid. Moving on. The third sister. I don't think the actress is bad. I just think that she was given a shitty character, right? In every scene, the Grand Inquisitor returns Obi-Wan Kenobi. Reva gets her own fake-out death. That's right. It's almost like the show wants her to die, but she just doesn't. But it's like she's trapped in a purgatory of eternal damnation and death every other episode, and it's fucking torturous. She attempts to kill Darth Vader. Yeah, right, dude. On Jabim, but the Sith Lord makes quick work with her and stabs her in the chest. The scene also has flashbacks of Vader. Yep, original attack on the Jedi Temple during Order 66, which I thought was great. So why not do more of that, right? Let us see Anakin going through the Jedi Temple and just slaughtering everybody, right? He already killed kids, so who the fuck cares? Let's see him kill the entire temple. Just like in Revenge of the Sith, the video game that came out, 20 years ago, which is a great game, by the way. I'm currently also playing that on Xbox, original Xbox. When he stabbed young Reva before she became an Inquisitor, she allegedly died not just once but twice and came back both times. Like I said, it's almost like the show wants her to die. It's like the show's getting off on it and then wants her to come back. I don't know why. So yeah, it's not that I don't think her character should have stayed dead. It's that, maybe have her die in a cool way and then bring them back like fucked up, permanently scarred, right? Or just kill them off, right? Just like trading fodder, just cannon fodder. Dead, dead, dead.
You should have stayed dead.
Fennec Shan in The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett.
You should have stayed dead.
When this fucking bitch took off her clothes and revealed that she was like half cyborg, I fucking lost it in the Book of Boba Fett, dude. It was either the Book of Boba Fett or it was The Mandalorian. I just could not. I was not into it. And I'm not into her character. I just don't care. And that's a common theme with a lot of these Disney Star Wars characters. I feel like I have no incentive to give a fuck. Make me care about the characters. Make your audience care about them, and your audience will take care of you, right? I feel like I just don't care. Someone out there probably does. Someone probably, out there is like, oh my God, Fennec Shan, one of my favorite bounty hunters. She's not Boba Fett. She's not Jango Fett. She's not Bosk. She's not Dengar. She's not IG-88. It's just, I don't know. But Fennec Shan's debut in The Mandalorian episode, The Gunslinger, was exceptional as she held herself against the Mandalorian Din Djarin. But she ultimately falls with a shot in the gut. She comes back in season 2 of The Tragedy with the reveal that Boba Fett found her and saved her in the nick of time, taking her to a mod parlor in Mos Espa where she got cybernetic replacements for her damaged organs. Fucking stupid. Don't even get me started on the Espa riders or whatever they're called with their stupid little Power Ranger scooters. So dumb. She then swore loyalty to Fett, which is also stupid, helping him become a dynamo, I think is the word, of Mos Espa in the Book of Boba Fett, which is also stupid. The Book of Boba Fett, we will get to this down the road when we do a review on that show. The Book of Boba Fett was a hot pile of stinking trash. there were very, very small positives with that show, but it was The Mandalorian 2.5, right? It was a half small season for The Mandalorian, and they took such an incredible legacy character, such as Boba Fett, and they stripped him of everything that made him cool to a certain degree. Because, at least from what I've seen or what I know of Disney Star Wars since 2022 when the Book of Boba Fett aired, I don't think they've done shit with Boba Fett since, and I hope they keep it that way. Just leave him the fuck alone. You already did enough damage. Cobb Vanth in the Book of Boba Fett. Now, I thought Disney was actually going to do a spin-off series with, is it Timothy Olyphant? Or, I think it's Timothy Olyphant is his name. I'm not quite sure how to say it. But I thought they were going to do a spin-off series with him. Oh, yeah. She should have stayed dead.
You should have stayed dead.
Cobb Vanth. Now, I actually did not like how they introduced his character into the show of The Mandalorian. Or it was either no, it might have been the Book of Boba Fett. See, I don't even remember what show he got introduced in. I thought it was The Mandalorian season 2. Sorry, guys. So sorry for yawning. But I feel as though they should have... I guess they could have just let him to stay dead. But then it's like, it would be cool to see like a gunslinger, underworld, criminal crime syndicate type show set in the Star Wars universe, right? That would be really cool. Despite the faults, the Book of Boba Fett does nail the whole Western feel of Tatooine with Cobb Vanth. Is one of the characters that best embodies this idea. The Marshal of Mos Pelgo sees himself facing legendary sharpshooter Cad Bane. That's right. In the episode From the Desert Comes a Stranger, thanks to the dispute involving the Pike Syndicate, Vanth ends up on the losing side of that deal, but it's later revealed that he has been brought to Jabba's palace for Bacta treatment. They should have left at Jabba's palace. Why here's a question. Out of all the planets within the Star Wars galaxy, you're Boba fucking Fett. Why would you stay on Tatooine? Why would you do that? You tell me in the comments below. Right now, there's no canon status on whether Vanth is alive or dead, but given how many characters have endured worse, he should pull through. I'm pretty sure that I thought I read somewhere not too long ago that he may or may not be coming back for like a spin-off series. I could be wrong. Asajj Ventress, I'm not even going to read this because in my headcanon, she died in 2002 and 2003 with Star Wars Clone Wars, the Cartoon Network original show. She died when Anakin killed her on Yavin 4, I think it was. With the rain, the rain hitting the lightsabers, and it makes like a sound, and she falls to her death. That's when she died in my mind.
You should have stayed dead.
Ahsoka Tano, The Clone Wars and Rebels. I do sort of like how they were able to, I guess, have Ahsoka cheat death. What I don't like is essentially she's become like Gandalf the White, but in Star Wars, right? The Messiah. They should have just let her, I think, stay dead. I get why she's such an important and vital character, but I feel like Dave Filoni's trying to prop up his special little girl that he's made into this, like, the new Anakin, or the new Obi-Wan, or the new Luke, or the new Leia, or like, and Ahsoka just shouldn't be that special. You know, what she should have been is, they shouldn't have done the Worlds Between Worlds segment, because now that you have that segment, now you have to explain it. You owe it to the audience to provide us with a decent explanation of what is the world between worlds and why is it like a parallel universe, or why is it like an alternative universe? You know, what is it? Explain it to us. We're curious. We want to know more. But maybe, I don't know, maybe it's better than George Lucas's micro universe where he was going to like have the Jedi shrink down and then go inside the midichlorian cell and see the entire Force worlds that live within inside of it. I have no idea. I don't know. Anakin's former Padawan, Ahsoka Tano, is another character who's died twice before. The first time it happens in the Clone Wars, Altar of Mortis, when she is infected by the sun with the dark side and dies. She then comes back to thanks the daughter. Oh yeah, that's right. See, that was fine. I had no issues with that whole bit with the Clone Wars. Gives her the life energy to revive Ahsoka. Ahsoka's second death takes place in a two-parter Rebels episode of Twilight of the Apprentice. Excuse me. My apologies for yawning. The Twilight of the Apprentice episode, fucking good. Really fucking good. A problem I have, though, is Ahsoka never fucking dies. Or she actually dies, but then she gets pulled out in the world between worlds with Ezra Bridger. Where after dueling Vader on Malachor, her silhouette is seen entering the local Sith temple. People speculate for a long time whether that was really Ahsoka or her Force ghost, until she finally came back in season 4 episode of A World Between Worlds, which reveals what really happened to her. And then there's also a lot of other stuff you have to get into, because with that episode of World Between Worlds, I believe Ezra sees Emperor Palpatine just like fucking around through a portal, like Ezra Bridger, you know, whatever the fuck the Emperor was doing. But it's just like, I don't know if maybe because I haven't been watching a lot of Disney Star Wars, I feel as though I don't know about all of the explanations for these characters and why are they doing what they're doing when they're doing it, and how did they come back when they came back, why they came back. But I feel like I'm missing a lot of shit. But that's just me. Ahsoka Tano, I see why they wanted her to come back. I see why they brought her back. I just don't think it was necessary.
You should have stayed dead.
Let characters who die stay dead. Otherwise, their death to begin with had no meaning. There was no weight to it. Rey, I'm not even going to read this. You all know what happened. We've all seen The Rise of Skywalker. She should have stayed dead. We don't need a Rey movie. I think they're moving in the right direction with Star Wars Starfighter. And we don't need Rey. Daisy Ridley, I'm sure does, unless she just wants to make money, I'm sure she doesn't give a fuck about Star Wars, doesn't want to come back to it. The Rise of Skywalker was a shit film. And we're moving onward and upward from there.
You should have stayed dead.
The Boba Fett and the Book of Boba Fett. For years, people have speculated whether Boba Fett could have survived his fall into the Sarlacc pit. I say yes, because it is Boba Fett. His return was finally confirmed in The Mandalorian Season 2, which is like, how many fucking years later? 83, I think, is when Return of the Jedi came out. So it's like 40 fucking years later, it's confirmed that he is alive after all. No, took way too fucking long. They should have gotten that shit under lock and key a long time ago. I don't think Disney should have been the one to bring back Boba Fett in the Book Boba Fett, because the reason I say that is because they fucked up the show so bad that I just wish they would have left him off to be dead, right? It's because, again, Disney just doesn't understand Star Wars characters. But it was his own spin-off series, The Book of Boba Fett, that finally revealed how exactly he survived, until the countless announced and subsequently canceled projects featuring him fueled speculation about his status, with Lucasfilm story group Pablo Hidalgo famously saying that Boba Fett is both simultaneously alive and dead in the Sarlacc pit until the story pulls him out. Pablo Hidalgo, I try not to listen to what that guy has to say. I don't think he knows Star Wars. We all knew Fett would return eventually. It's just nice to have him back. It's so great to have these characters back. It's so and Boba Fett's now a good guy. And what are they going to do next? Bring back Darth Vader? They already, brought back everyone else.
You should have stayed dead.
Maul and the Clone Wars. So, I recently did just rewatch The Phantom Menace. Bro gets sliced in half. He's found by his brother, Savage Opress, eating trash on that planet. Living in a junkyard world with cybernetic spider legs he built himself. Maul then goes on to be one of the most spectacular villain arcs of the whole franchise. While I cannot deny that Maul's comeback is a comeback, I can certainly say that I think he should have just stayed dead.
You should have stayed dead.
Or it's either Maul comes back, but every other character on this list stays dead. You can't have both. Right? There's a cool little segment in one of my books over on my bookshelf. It's called Star Wars Panel to Panel. It's either in volume 1 or 2. I don't remember. But there's like this alternate alternate comic book timeline where like Darth Maul and Darth Vader meet because they could never have technically existed during the same time period. And this is way before Disney. And they actually have a fight. It's just some badass artwork. Look it up. But I don't think Maul needed to return. Oh, yes. The number one Big Daddy. Somehow, Palpatine returned.
You should have stayed dead.
It's even the quote, the first line on the article right here. Remains one of the most controversial decisions in Star Wars. They shouldn't have brought back Palpatine. They should have had Snoke. Snoke should have been the failed version at a clone of Emperor Palpatine. I would have been okay with that because in the EU originally, the Empire was trying to clone Palpatine. And they had a lot of failed experiments of Palpatine, but they were also trying to clone him to keep bringing him back to essentially just, or have duplicates, have doubles, have decoys, all of that sort of things. As happens in Legends, the Rise of Skywalker's execution and explanation are so arbitrary and clumsy. Dark science, cloning, secrets. Only the Sith knew and understood. It's almost made everyone regret ever wanting Palpatine back. He actually had a whole order of Sith cultists working on creating a strand cast body. His spirit could inhabit after death, but it never worked out. So they either should have done that, where his spirit inhabited like a failed, fucked up clone body, where it's just like, and it's Snoke. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Disney wants to do what Disney's going to do, and I just am a powerless little peon, I guess. His return to the Rise of Skywalker was nearly complete, but Rey saved the galaxy by stopping him for a third time and placing Palpatine at like 118 years old, or who knows. This time, let's keep him dead, okay? It just goes to show that the tone of the number one character who should have stayed dead, the tone of this article here, this paragraph, goes to show you how we all feel, Star Wars fans. Palpatine should have stayed dead. I would have traded off every single one of these characters staying dead permanently if it would have meant that we could have had Darth Maul back permanently. Or, and now Disney's getting ready to do a Darth Maul animated spin-off series, right? So we'll see how that is. Hopefully they don't ruin the character anymore. They most likely will. Anyway, guys, that's enough bitching for me today. Go ahead and make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you so much for tuning into the transmission. And this is Imperial Transmission signing off. Peace.